Hello guys, it is Sunday, so it's time for the Nightmare Corridor and Cursed Realm weekly walkthrough. Again, I just turned Monday 10 minutes ago, so it's a bit late for me, so we're just gonna do it as fast as we can so I can go to bed. Right, so let's start in the Nightmare Corridor. So my time is with Trial Wokrin in the first team, but just know that if you don't want to pop his Trial, you can use Awakened Thane with the SI40 in here for a very similar or even potentially better time. So yeah, for this team, just collection wise, nothing special. Just get full attack everywhere and get insight on this guy. And then obviously the trial version does not have a collection. And for the next team here, this is the Vika team. Now for the Vika team, get full attack everywhere, and then make sure, or if you have a +2 collection of the Trader's Vault, put that on Rosaline. And other than that, it's a bit of RNG to get a good time. But yeah, pretty straightforward and obviously Rosaline follows Vika. This team, shout out to Viatrix, who I'll also link in the description. Another fellow free-to-play gamer who's much smarter than me, to be honest. He showed me, he made me aware of this team. This is the it's a Leica team, right? In the third round, and through some miracle, this Leica team actually works with my own Leica, so I didn't have to merc a Leica for this round. And actually, I didn't even end up merking any heroes for this round. So these are all my own heroes, which is a nice feeling. But also, I should probably merc a whale hero somewhere. This is the Scarlet team. The only thing of note here is the +2 collection on Solus, and I guess +1 on Rain. But yeah, +2 on Solus. And other than that, it's just, focusing on full attack and a decent attack collection on Scarlet. And this is actually quite a poor hit. Usually my time for the Scarlet team is a bit faster. But yeah, then I might have been slower here, but I was slightly faster on other teams. Speaking of other teams I was slightly faster on, this is the team. So usually for me, this team is like around a 20-second time, 23-second time. But I was able to hit 16 seconds. So what I did was actually I took, what's he called? I took Liberta to a +40. I know I'm a bit late to the party, but this was done for Cursed Realm reasons actually mainly, but it also had the splash effect of helping me out in the Nightmare Corridor. As for this team, you have to play around if you're using the Orthos variant. You have to make sure that Orthos is the lowest health, so I remove his gear to achieve that. And then you also have to make sure that during Orthos' ult, it is Athalia who moves. And to make sure of that, I removed Palmer's gear, because he had higher combat rating or attack power than Athalia. So yeah, TLDR, Orthos is the lowest HP, so Liberta links him. And then Athalia is the highest attack, so she moves during Orthos' ult. And then last but not least, this is the Baden team, Trashia Baden. No notes here, obviously. Just get engraving 30 on Trashia and you're good to go. And you just want to stack full attack where you can. Yeah, collections don't really matter that much. I guess a +1 effect on Baden is quite nice, just as it is for Athalia. Now, I told you guys that you don't need the trial version of Wokrin or whatever the abbreviation will end up being. So let's find the time before I popped. So here, right? So instead of him, I'm just slotting in a SI40 Thane that I merked. But yeah, obviously I popped the trial, but that was actually mainly due to the Cursed Realm. But before we head to the Cursed Realm, I want to head over to the browser real quick. And obviously I'll link this in the description. Shout out to Farara, who links these Chinese guides weekly. Now for the Nightmare Corridor, usually these aren't that good. I mean, they're pretty good if you're a whale, but normally you want to sift through the leaderboard and see if there are some interesting options and not really follow these general guides who are, in general, they're more catered towards whales, in my experience anyways. But yeah, for the first team, here's the Leica variant for the first team. Obviously, if that works for you, great. But for me, Leica doesn't work for me, so thanks to Beatrix, I was able to move her out and then pop the Yoran trial to make it work in there. Obviously, the second team is always Vika. Even for whales at this point, Vika is just too good for this team. So for the third team, if you're a super whale, obviously you can use the Lan plus Thane variant. Now, obviously I don't have either Lan or Thane, and I don't even think I have anyone I can merc land from. So yeah, not really an option for me. So I'm using the Leica team that Beatrix showed me. And also, you can just go back in the video, or you can check the link in the description afterwards. So here, I believe this is the fourth team, right? So you can use Dragon Gwyneth. Yeah, I mean, I have a Dragon Gwyneth merc, but it didn't. This team didn't work out for me. I'm just using a Scarlet variant. And then last, or second to last, obviously the Thalia team, where you have to play around with Orthos and Liberta, health and attack. And then last but not least, you have the, well, if you're a whale, you have this team, but for most people, you're just using Trashea and Baden. Right, let's head into the real nitty gritty of this week, which is the Cursed Realm. So as you can see here, I usually don't go this high, but obviously I have 230k diamonds and not really spending on it anything, so I thought I might as well try. Emphasis on trying to hit the RNG for this round, because this round for the Cursed Realm, nice ranking here. This round for the Cursed Realm is very, very RNG dependent. Like, this is by far the worst one. And actually, let me just real quick find what I linked. Sorry, this is a bit scuffed, but I do want to show you guys this. I guess I could open it in the browser and then head over to that afterwards. Sorry. There we go. Right. So for the first team here, I'm using Baden and Nyla in here. Now, this team is a heavy RNG. You can also use the owl instead of the panda pet. Or not the panda, the spooter pet. As for the collections, I'm using the +2 on Nyla. Obviously, honestly, it doesn't really matter. I was able to actually have my best hit without the +2 on Nyla. So yeah, I just tried swapping around collections. Also, I put Engraving 60 and SI 40 on Nyla for this round. Mainly the Engraving 60 I thought was pretty crucial. And the 40 was just because, I mean, she's the only dragon that I use and I see myself using in the foreseeable future. And I have plenty of the SI materials for dragons lying around. As for the collections, just stack full attack everywhere. And that's about it, right? And obviously I'm merking this big Baden. And just as a side note, when I say it, this round is RNG dependent, I was able to hit this with my team, 19 billion, which is obviously way more than the 16 billion I hit on my real hit. So yeah, plus 3 billion potentially if the RNG treats you right here. Next up, this is the Seal team. There's a bunch of Seal variants. Many of them contain both Brutus and Matria, of which I have neither. So for most people, or for people with Brutus and Matria, you slot those two into the front line, and then you take out Melusina and just throw Khazard in the back line. For me, I'm using this variant with Eugene, and it's doing 12 billion damage, which is honestly completely fine for the Seal team. Obviously for the Seal team, you want to stack Insight everywhere that you can on these heroes. So that's what's going on here, and I don't have Insight on this guy, I just have the +2 wings. Next up, so this is another team where you have to play around a bit, and this was actually the reason that I did the SI40 on Liberta. And this was because I was struggling with having Liberta have the highest attack and move during Orthos' ult. Lucilla kept stealing that slot. So here's what you have to do. Let me try and make it concise. You have to make sure that Orthos is the lowest HP and receives Liberta's orb, right? So Liberta links Orthos. Second, you have to make sure that Liberta is the highest attack so that Liberta moves during Orthos' ult. So if we play this real quick, it should look something like this. So, as you can see, once Liberta ults, Liberta ults and she links Orthos. So that's step 1. That means Orthos has the lowest HP. Step 2, once Orthos ult, Liberta is the one who moves. So step 2 is Liberta has the highest attack, so she moves during Orthos' ult. And that's honestly all there is to it. It sounds simple, but you have to play around with gear and collection to make it happen. Or at least I did. If it works for you on the first try, consider yourself lucky. Right. As for the collections, I'm just stacking full attack everywhere. Well, except here. Yeah. And some Magic Pierce on Liberta. Did the most for me. Next up. So here I popped the Yoren trial, right? I'm using the Yoren trial in here. And it's doing it was a bit of RNG, but it can do like 11.5 billion damage in here. As for the collections, just defense on Lucius, +1 on Chimera, +1 on Tamras, and then +2 on Soulless, and obviously SP effect on Urine. But yeah, slight RNG, not that bad. But speaking about bad RNG, here's the Belinda team. Now this Belinda team, the Gavious variant, there's a Chimera variant that I'll show you guys later on, which is more stable. But Gavious is way more. It can peak way higher, but it is a terrible RNG team. It's like a 1 in, I want to say like a 1 in 7 of hitting good, and by good I mean for me above 17 billion. But yeah, along with Baden being like a 1 in 5 or whatever, or not even 1 in 5, like maybe 1 in 10. You can see how the RNG starts to stack against you. As for the collections, obviously insight on this guy, I just used the +2 on this guy, +1 on this guy, generic stats for her, and energy regen, and I guess the +1 for Lavatune, but I'm not sure that matters all that much. For the last team here, so this team is the Thalia team, +1, you need +1 collection on Athalia, and other than that, yeah, I mean, just a bunch of full attack everywhere else, and you're good to go. All right, so those were my teams. Obviously, if we head over to the browser, the potential for this round, which is also why I spent so many diamonds retrying, was that if I could hit both of these, I could get potentially like +4, maybe even 5 billion on my current score, which would put me very high in the ranks, and that was very enticing, but I ended up wasting a lot of diamonds without hitting it. But if we head over to the Chinese guide real quick, so the Chinese guide, it speaks of the Urine in Team 1 formation, but for most people, and for most people watching this video, don't even bother with this team. First of all, it might require this dragon, but second of all, it's just a very expensive team. So I wouldn't even bother with the Urine in Team 1 variant. Just use Urine in Team 4 as I did, and then use a standard or somewhat standard Baden team. And if you don't have Nyla for whatever reason, you can use Kren in here. Here's the Seal team. Now it doesn't actually list the Brutus Matria variant. It uses a Shuna variant. Now obviously I think Shuna is way better in this team. But yeah, you could try both of these Seal variants. The one I'm using is this one. Just remember to stack a lot of insight. Yeah. For this team, yeah, as I told you guys, Orthos has the lowest HP, Liberta has the highest attack, and away you go. You can play around with the pets, and obviously Sonya, is that even her name? I can't remember. But yeah, she can be replaced, or should be replaced, I believe, by Shuna. That's at least what I am doing. For the last team here, or for the 4th round, here they're actually doing the non-Baden Lucius variant, and down here they're doing the Baden variant without Chimera. I'm combining both of them, right, and just using Baden and Chimera in the same team. And then for the Belinda team, I'm not using the Chimera variant, which is way more stable, but it peaks lower. I'm using the Gavious variant, which is completely unstable and very terribly RNG dependent. But for Cursed Realm, all that matters is not, like, it doesn't matter how consistent your hits are, it matters how high you can peak and how many diamonds you're willing to spend. So yeah, this team is better, but yeah, if you can't hit the RNG, you can try a few attacks with this team. And then last but not least, here's the Athalia team. Now, if you don't have dancers, I believe you could probably get away with a SI 30 dancers, because Athalia moves to the enemy side of the battlefield. But even so, you can try a Trashia if your dancers are not up to par. And if you don't have the Tombstone guy, who works at very low investment, by the way, you can try Urine. Right, so that's the Chinese guide. But I also do want to make a shout out to, if we go to the Discord real quick, and I switch so I don't leak anything. There we go. I want to make a shout out to, what did I just do? There we go. I want to make shout outs to Vitrix, Feature Pay Journey. Probably many of you guys know him, but he posts his team on the crowdsourcing Discord server, and he is he's probably the smartest or the best free-to-play player, at least that I know of in Cursed Realm and in Nightmare Corridor. As you can see, he was able to do 109 billion damage, right? Which is way more than me. And here are his Cursed Realm teams that I drew inspiration from fairly heavily. Obviously, I had to modify the first and the second team for myself, but yeah, his blueprint is definitely very visible in my teams. So yeah, shout out to Beatrix. He also does run a YouTube channel, which I'll link down below. And yeah, I think that's actually about it. Again, it's late here, so I do want to head to bed at a reasonable time. And I'll see you guys next Sunday. Take care.